Hello, my name is Debbie Chu. I'm with the city's Office of Management and Budget. Thank you for tuning in this week's weekly report. Pretty soon you'll see myself and our staff at the annual citywide budget hearings. These meetings are held to get input on what is important to you. A few years ago, residents overwhelmingly asked for more city dollars to go to demolition of houses and buildings on the dangerous buildings list. So that is exactly what happened. The city added $10 million to the dangerous building program and demolished every building that was on that list at that time. We also created the Dollar House program to give residents a chance to restore some of the houses on that list and put more residents back into neighborhoods. So now is your chance to tell us your thoughts on the city's budget. The annual citywide budget hearings will take place Tuesday, February 19th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Southeast Community Center. Thursday, February 21st from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Kansas City Police Department Headquarters Building. Saturday, February 23rd from 9 to 11 a.m. at the R.B. Doolin Center, and Saturday, March 2nd from 9 to 11 a.m. at the Greg Kleiss Community Center. If you had down limbs from the recent snowstorms but missed making an appointment for the curbside pickup, you can still drop them off at the city's drop-off sites now through February 16th, and the fees have been waived. The sites are located at 11660 North Main, 1815 North Choteau Traffic Way, and 10301 Raytown Road. Go to kcmo.gov for more information. In recognition of President's Day on Monday, February 18th, city offices and 311 will be closed. Trash pickup shifts to the holiday schedule, which means Monday moves to Tuesday and so on through the week. Friday trash collection will take place on Saturday. For more information, visit kcmo.gov/trash. Kansas City Streetcar will be hosting the third public meeting for the Main Street extension to UMKC. This meeting will be held on Thursday, February 21st from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. at St. Paul's Episcopal Church. For more information, go to kcstreetcar.org. If you have questions on the city's budget process, please check out this awesome video along with city department videos. I'm Debbie Chu, and I hope to see you all at the citywide budget hearings, and thank you for tuning in to this week's weekly report.
Ever wonder how the City of Kansas City, Missouri puts together its annual budget, or how you can get involved in the process? Before the budgeting process even begins, City Council members collaborate at an annual meeting to re-examine and amend the city's goals and priorities, which are outlined in KCMO's citywide business plan. The city relies upon this 5-year plan to provide the big picture needed to help guide decisions which are made each year during the city's budget process, a process that has 4 steps. First, a number of public meetings called resident work sessions are held throughout the city in mid-September through early October. The city's budget office uses these meetings to educate those interested in the budget process and also to give residents an opportunity to tell elected officials which city services are most important to them. Next, city departments create and submit their own desired budgets to city management and the finance staff. Over the next several weeks, these administrative offices discuss department proposals and make decisions on what to include, keeping in mind the need to keep a balanced budget. This is a legal requirement set forth in the city's charter. After a balanced budget proposal is created, it is presented to the City Council for review and at the same time made public on the city's website at kcmo.gov for all to see. Here's another chance for residents like you to get involved, as the city hosts several public meetings where you can share your thoughts on the city's proposed budget. Public budget hearings for the upcoming fiscal year budget will be held on Tuesday, February 19th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Southeast Community Center, 4201 East 63rd Street. Thursday, February 21st from 1 to 3 p.m. at the KCPD downtown headquarters, 1125 Locust Street. Saturday, February 23rd from 9 to 11 a.m. at the R.B. Doolin Center Boardroom, 1856 Northeast 46th Street. And Saturday, March 2nd from 9 to 11 a.m. at the Greg Kleiss Community Center, 1600 John Buck O'Neill Way. The final step in the budgeting process occurs when the budget gets approved at a city council meeting and goes into effect on May 1st. This approved budget remains in effect until April 31st of the coming year. The City of KCMO values the input of all residents throughout the annual budget process as it continues to provide outstanding services to all Kansas Cityans.
Kansas City's rich history is represented in the stories of the individuals who live in Kansas City, the stories of our neighborhoods and our communities. One area filmmaker who's made it his mission to share these important histories is Rodney Thompson, whose current film, I Remember 12th Street, will be screened here at the Nelson Atkins Museum on February 23rd. Rodney Thompson, thank you for being here, and we also have a special guest, Junie and James, who is also participating in the film. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Now, Mr. Thompson, what is it about 12th Street and this specific period of time that led you to focus this film on this period?
Well, 12th Street is an iconic street in the annals of Kansas City history. It's been immortalized in song and is the subject of jazz legends. And I just felt very much like I wanted to tell the story of 12th Street. And my partner and I, Stinson McClendon, took a look at it and started to talk to people, and we found out that people who lived in that area had such an affinity for the street. People who lived during the 1940s and 1950s at its height of popularity, and to allow them to tell their stories of their memories of 12th Street. I was struck by how all of the people unanimously seemed to feel a great sense of community, a sense of community that doesn't seem to exist anymore. Mm-hmm. So.
The film will be screened here at the Nelson Atkins Museum, and it's a free screening, but we want to make sure that people still register on the Nelson's website, nelson-atkins.org, because we want to make sure that people reserve their seat, because there's going to be a lot of activity happening at the museum. But if people want to find out more about what you're working on, either upcoming projects or past projects, where's the best place to see that information?
Well, we've been very fortunate to have been supported by an organization called Real Images Film and Video Group, and there is a website called realimages.org, that's R-E-E-L, images.org, and you can find out about some of the work that we're doing in the past and some of the things that we're working on right now.
And what was so special about 12th Street?
To me, people and the way things were back in them days. You know, I knew most all the kids, you know, we all hung out together, played together. And then the streets, we had streetcars back then. And then we had these apartment buildings, wasn't too many houses. Most places were apartment buildings. And then the people, and then all the different clubs and the pool halls and restaurants that we had. We had small restaurants. We had one that built later on in the years, was called Vivian's. It was the most modern restaurant. Then we had the clubs. They didn't have, the Orchid Room was about the biggest club. It was one of the biggest in Kansas City for black or white.
And I do want to add that Julian has a phenomenal memory. He has instant recall to events and activities that happened 60, 70 years ago. So
What a gift.
it's a fascinating part of the film, hearing him tell his stories.
Great. Thank you so much for telling us about the history of 12th Street and for sharing information about this film.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about the film.
The Neighborhood Tourist Development Fund supports local nonprofits that bring cultural, social, educational, and recreational activities to our area. To learn about additional upcoming events, visit kcmo.gov/ntdf.
Diligence, perseverance is what comes to mind. It's always good to have an advocate on the inside, but when the community shows up and expresses their voice, it was important because my constituents were, obviously very passionate about getting it addressed. I've heard these complaints since I came into office, and all the issues, as I mentioned, with it being a commercial property. You give the property owner an opportunity to get the property back into compliance. The last thing you want to do is tear down properties when they have a commercially useful function, but the ownership was not willing to do that. So we had to give them that time period to do so and then start the legal process, which is what has occurred. It's been ongoing about the vagrancy with the transient people coming to stay, finding shelter, suspected criminal activity going on, and just the blight that people see when they pass by. It's just been unsightly for a long period of time. People were just very frustrated that the process took so long. With out-of-state owners, with it being commercial property, there are a lot of additional hurdles that go into the receivership process, but we were finally able to get that done. City staff, they're very busy. They have thousands of properties like this around the city, and then you deal with the court. So it's not just a one-person thing, it's a team effort. You remove blight, you open up opportunities, and that's what we're looking for, is new opportunity, new economic development to come along this corridor in the 5th District, and for the residents to be happy when they go home and not have to look at some unsightly structure.
During Black History Month in February, we paid a visit to the crime lab of the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department, where we met a dozen African American women who work in crime scene investigation, or what is commonly known as CSI.
It's Tara Russell, and I am a forensic specialist in the DNA biological evidence section.
Russell took a few turns before she arrived at KCPD's crime lab and encourages others to think about a career in the science of forensics.
I like science, but I couldn't really figure out how I wanted to connect it with my life. So I talked to my father, who is actually a detective, Detective Ronald Russell for KCPD, and he was like, well, why don't you check out the crime lab, and I'll call Linda and you can get a tour. So I was like, well, that seems interesting. I never thought about that. It was never really presented to me as an option. It never crossed my mind to even work in this field. Starting out in college, 18, going to college, it's kind of like, well, I like science stuff, so let's try that. So my dad really helped me bring it in and find something that I enjoy doing, something that is fulfilling. I feel like I'm helping out the community with the work that I do, and that's how I came around to doing forensics. You have to be patient. You can't rush through things. You can't rush through training. I'm still in training, and I've been here for going on 8 years. I'm still learning new things. I'm actually in training now for analysis, so I just finished all of that, and I have another reading to do before I'm signed off and I'm able to be let loose. So it's something that does take a long time, and you're consistently learning new things, and science is always changing, it's always getting better. So always, if you're open to learning new things all throughout life, this would be something good for you. If you're somebody who learned something and you want to do it that same way for the rest of time, then you may want to think about something different, because that is not how this job works.
Fingerprinting is another specialty within KCPD's crime lab.
I'm Crystal Frowner, and I am a forensic specialist too, which is a latent print examiner, and I've been with the department for 8 years.
Frowner was also in another career field when she was recruited to the crime lab.
And my degree is actually in communications, so I said, I'm not sure if this job is for me, and I'm also a certified paralegal, so I wasn't think I was qualified for the job, but the supervisor told me that I had the qualities that you couldn't teach, as far as integrity and honesty, commitment, and dependability. He said, anything else I can teach you. And so I got hired on as a fingerprint ID technician, and they trained me in the ways of how to do all the comparisons. And then later on I got a promotion and moved to latent prints, and they sent me to all the classes that I needed for the forensics aspect of the job that I do now. The exciting part of the job is we get to process. So we get to process different items of evidence, which also can prove to be our most challenging part, because all the items of evidence is never the same. So you have to think through, what chemical would I use on this item, how am I going to photograph it, which angle I should get it at, the lighting, and then the actual comparison is also very challenging sometimes as well.
My name is Tiffany Hudson, and I've been working here for approximately 2.5 years. And my position is a forensic specialist too, also known as a crime scene technician.
Tiffany Hudson has a bachelor's degree in biology with a minor in chemistry and a master's in forensic science with concentration in advanced investigations.
Well, I work in the crime scene division, so we do fingerprinting, swabbing for DNA purposes. We also do photography, and we do processing at our medical examiner's office.
My name is Maria Maples. I am a firearms specialist here at the Kansas City Crime Lab and in firearms. And what we do is full function testing of firearms, making sure that the firearm functions properly, and entering the cartridge cases into a database called NIBIN.
Here are a few others we met during our visit to the crime lab. Marcina Craig, forensic specialist of the DNA section. Barbara Banks, assistant supervisor in the latent print section. Sandra Haywood, forensic specialist in the fingerprinting. Sandra Ambler, forensic specialist in fingerprinting. Trinita Drummer, forensic specialist in fingerprinting. Lysandra Frowner, forensic specialist in fingerprinting. Robin Wright, inventory specialist, property and evidence. And Delisha Gibson, inventory specialist. We missed seeing a few, and they are Kathy May, chief criminalist supervisor in the firearms section. Lavonda Jackson, forensic specialist in the latent print section. We salute all of you in your work for Black History Month. I'm Officer Mike Moats, and have a safe week.
Whatever happens, wherever you go, you'll know. Alert KC is your connection to information that matters most to you 24/7. Get text message alerts about safety incidents, service updates, community news, and now dangerous weather conditions right where you are. Sign up and choose the alert that you want to receive. To sign up, simply text your zip code to 888-777. If you live or work in KCMO, stay in the know about missing persons, water main breaks, severe weather, and more. You can also sign up on our website at kcmo.gov and search Alert KC. You can also click the Nixle link on the city's page to customize the information you want to receive, such as alerts, advisories, and/or community messages. Alerts are sent for urgent matters that could adversely affect life and property, such as boil orders and severe weather. Advisories are sent to residents in a specific geographic area regarding water main breaks, wastewater overflows, major road closures, snow ordinances, and unscheduled city office closures. Community messages are neighborhood notifications sent via email. Examples of these include scheduled trash delays, city-sponsored events, or public meetings. You can also choose which local agencies you'd like to receive notifications from. Alert KC is available at no cost to residents. Standard text message rates apply. To learn more about Alert KC, visit kcmo.gov/alertkc. To watch additional videos, check the FYI KC webpage at kcmo.gov/FYIKC.
Those blue squiggly lines.
Want to see what an award-winning water quality education class looks like? Watch.
If you look at the land inside this white line here, all of this land in here is a watershed because...
That's Kate Delahunt. She and Laura Ish are the presenters of KC Water's Journey of Stormwater, KC to the Sea. It's a curriculum that introduces students to stormwater, runoff, and what happens to water after it washes down the drain.
Most kids in the 4th through 6th grade still think water comes from the water factory. So tying our natural waterways into the drinking water that they drink every day puts them in as part of the process, and I love to see that.
Every year they take this program into as many public and private Kansas City schools that will let them in the door. On this day, they have the attention of Mr. Flood's 6th grade class at St. Elizabeth's School.
Do you make out what that blue squiggly line is? Okay, it's a river, but which one is it? Missouri River. Excellent, the Missouri River.
This isn't just classroom work. After all, how can you learn about water without water?
Look how far the water has traveled.
That's the point. Water doesn't stay put. It moves downhill and takes with it whatever is in the way.
Notice that's happening.
Rolling downhill.
What else?
Water spreading.
Every single time I go in and work with these kids, I always hear that wow factor. When the kids see water moving across impervious surfaces, carrying pollution right along with it, they never cease to be amazed.
I learned about the water cycle a lot, that our water that we use goes all the way around the world to the next city and the next city.
It's a great program to empower students to become active citizens in their community.
It's a real-world application of math and science and English and communication skills. So this is important for our kids, and it can help teachers teach what they already need to teach.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
Thank you, Water Department, for doing this. I think it's an excellent program, and I hope other schools take part in this.